Welcome to the Asian American Spotlight. Oh man, is it very obvious that I'm sleepy? Because I am. I'm in the middle of a move right now, and there are boxes everywhere, and half of them are empty because I still need to fill them up. Anyways, welcome to the Asian American Spotlight. This week I'm going to go a little bit different. I'm going to dive into the world of politics. Now, I was always told that it's impolite to talk politics and religion and all that. But I always disagreed so wholeheartedly, especially politics, because it literally affects everyone. So why wouldn't you discuss something that's so important? I know we like to, ignore things sometimes and just let things be as they will. But when you have the power to change the situation you're in, exercise it. We should talk politics because there's so much information out there, and it's hard to know it all. I think it's impossible. So based off of discussions with people you trust, or just to talk out the issues, you can at least know where you stand. And then when these politicians talk about those same issues, you'll be like, oh, I agree with that, I don't agree with that, and then you'll know who to vote for based off of those issues. That's ideally how it works. Anyways, we're going to talk a little bit about politics. So today I had the pleasure to meet Dr. Tran, Mai Khanh Tran. She's running for California's 39th district, which is an open seat that was left open by Ed Royce, who just who stepped down. So it's an open seat in Congress. It's been Republican for I don't know how many decades, but it's been Republican for a while. The populace has changed now significantly. And so now we have a very interesting situation. We have Dr. Tran, who still has to do the primaries and then go into the election. But from what I'm hearing, she's expected to go against another candidate, Young Kim. So we have two Asian American candidates going up against each other, in theory. If it plays out as it currently will, and that's kind of cool in itself. And being that this is an Asian American spotlight, I don't want to I support Asian Americans. They're both immigrants. They have a lot in common. So I'm going to talk about some of the things that separates them. And the reason why I'm supporting Dr. Tran specifically. So whether or not you agree, it really doesn't matter which party you're on. I'm still getting to know the party stuff. For me, it's always been about the issues. It's been about the candidates. One thing that some of you might not know, but I was really involved with politics in high school. I was student council president. I was president of the student council in the Vancouver district. So I ran the council of student council presidents in all the 18 schools in the Vancouver district. So I was very involved in that stuff. And to be very honest, I was kind of a stupid kid. I didn't really understand all the things that were going on and all the things that were said. But what I did really get a feel for, especially after running so many elections, you can tell which kids are doing it for fun, because they think it's going to make them cool. Which kids are doing it for the freebies, to get into the dances and stuff, because there's a lot of perks for being in student council. You can tell which kids are doing it because it looks good on the resume, because it'll be good for school applications. And the very, very rare one or two students that you meet in your entire time there, are actually doing it because they care about the issues that actually face the students. I wish I was one of them. I wasn't. I became one of them after I got out of it, sadly. But these are the people that just understand the system. They see that there's issues that needs to be resolved or dealt with, and they want to do something about it. They just want to change because they want to exercise that power that they have. And listening to Dr. Tran speak, you can clearly tell that this is her story. So I guess the biggest difference between Dr. Tran and, and Young Kim, the other Asian American candidate on the Republican side, and any of the other candidates that I've looked up, the biggest difference is that she's not a millionaire. She doesn't have, she's not a millionaire, and she doesn't have the backing of a bunch of millionaires. And one, I'm always for the underdog, but two, when you have that much money coming in, there's just so many different influences, and that's when you can really, that's when I really start questioning your motives, because nothing comes for free. If you get something like that, people are going to expect something in return, and I don't know, I always go for the little guy, and like hearing her speak, hearing her, knowing it's an uphill battle for her, knowing that she has to fundraise above and beyond, because she's not going after the big donors, is, I don't know, that kind of earnestness just really resonates with me. She's a physician. She she's got some really cool accolades. So she was on the cover of, I think, Time magazine recently, and Elle magazine. Like, she's been doing some crazy stuff, but she's a physician, so her every day is taking care of kids and their families, and she sees that there's an issue with the healthcare system, and that's the biggest thing that she wants to do. She wants to be the first women doctor in Congress, because that doesn't exist right now. And when they're making all these big decisions on the healthcare of America and none of them's a doctor, I don't know, that just seems weird, doesn't it? Like, it'd be cool to have someone who is there and who deals with patients every single day, to kind of have maybe a say on how we should treat people and their health care. So yeah, I loved everything that she had to say. And you can tell she believed in it. Comes from an immigrant family. Ton of struggles. I'm not going to read you her whole story, but if you happen to be in California's 39th district, go out and vote, whoever it may be for. I just told you about Dr. Tran. Feel free to go read up more on her. There are other candidates. Well, I don't want to tell you who to vote for, but I definitely want to tell you to listen to people. Listen to what they have to say. Read between the lines sometimes. Try to figure out what issues they're fighting for, what they're actually fighting for, and if they get elected in, follow up on it. Make sure they're accountable to what they ran their elections on, or their campaigns on, because that's important. You can't just have people giving out false promises just to win the election, and not, then do whatever they want. That's not how a democracy works. And if everyone's apathetic, then what's the point? When I went to Asia, one thing that I learned really, really quickly was that democracy wouldn't work. You have a country of 2 billion people, and you're trying to win an election. Okay, so first of all, you have information. How do you get it out there? 2 billion people, half of them at least are trying to figure out how they're going to put food on the table. They don't care about elections. That doesn't, affect them immediately. How do you get them to vote? Oh, well, you just buy buses, give everyone $1 to jump on the bus and go to the polls and vote. Or you block. Basically, it's so easily corruptible when there's so many people, because a lot of them don't have the luxury to care about it. And then the race becomes who can buy the most buses and give everyone $1 to vote for them, or who can spend more money blocking other buses from voting. It gets so crazy. So when it gets so big, I don't know, democracy doesn't work, because there's so many people that just don't think that their vote matters. Then you have apathy. Then you have 50% of the population or more that don't vote, and then it's really usually the rich people who have the luxury of caring, who figured out the system, like, oh man, all we need to do is get this group of people to vote our way, and then we can control whatever. No, we have to care. This is our duty. I mean, I'm not even an American, so I don't really have a say. Um, but I do want to encourage people to get involved. Dogs. I do want to encourage people to get involved, to read up on issues, to read up on candidates. I know it's not fun, but it's so important because it literally affects us all, even the Canadians living in America. So, anyways, this week's Asian American Spotlight is on an Asian American candidate. Oops, an Asian American candidate, Dr. Tran, and many others out there. Again, I don't want to tell you who to vote for. I want to encourage you to read up, make decisions on your own. I will give you my personal character reference. She seems like a cool cat, and I believe everything she says, and I believe that she means it when she says it. That's what I can say. Okay, that's it. That's the Asian American Spotlight this week. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next week.